What's going on, Pokemon League Championship fans? Sorry for the late and random stream. We're going to run right through this one. It's a really short week because we only have one replay and we only have one other match, which is on the screen right now. It's going to be a really short one. We're just going to run right through it, and we were late this time because Mother's Day was Sunday and we took that off. So, you know, whatever. It is what it is. This upcoming week's going to be a little bit better, although one side of the bracket doesn't even have any replays at all. So, like the Western bracket probably won't have any replays unless one of them does a handy cam. And then the Eastern bracket, we all have the capture cards over there, so that kind of sucks. Anyway, going right into the first match of play-ins, which is right before playoffs, basically. It's where the bottom 4 trainers fight to see who can go into playoffs, which is a best of 3. So all these are one-of matches. Nothing too crazy. They're all pretty cool, really quick, kind of to the point this week, which leads us into the playoffs week 1, which is a best of 3. So starting out, we got Steven versus Mike Hendo. Now, Mike is a 5-time veteran. He's played all 5 seasons. He is one of the top-rated players in general. I think it's like a Reese, Zach, Mike, myself, or a Reese, Mike, Zach, myself. It's one of those type of combinations. Might change after this season. I did pretty poorly this season, but we'll see. So Mike over here is a veteran. He's played playoffs a bunch of times. This is his first time this low in the bracket too, which kind of sucks for him, but he's coming in with a lot of energy. You can see he has a pretty solid team there with Hitmontop, rocking Intimidate and Fake Out, probably maybe Eject Button. He's also got Fake Out and Parting Shot, stuff like that on the Alolan Persian. He finally picked up the Tyranitar off of the wire in the last second. He was like, if I'm going down, I'm taking Tyranitar with me. He picked that up, and he's bringing his Braviary, which we've seen him use Max a lot of times, and then that Durudalon that he got from Jay. And then, as always, cementing his team is his Togekiss. So Mike, again, really strong player. Steven, this is Steven S. Or sorry, Steven B. This is his first season. He's, despite having a kind of lackluster team, he's actually done pretty well. I think it's because of the fact that he's really comfortable with his team, and he likes to focus on their strengths, and he's done a lot of Trick Room stuff. I mean, he's got some cool Pokemon. Obviously, you can see he's got the only legendary I think that we have. Oh well, there's Keldeo. He's got one of the only legendaries that we have in the season, and that's Qrem, and he's got weakness policy on that, so he can hit really hard. Choice specs on the Alcremie, so he can hit hard as well. He's got the Choice Scarf onto the Ribombee, possibly for some speed swap shenanigans, things like that. Side note, that Ribombee does have Shield Dust. The Guts, Machamp, Focus Sash, on the Gengar, not sure who he's gonna max this round, and then a Lumberry on the, I'm pretty sure it's Lumberry, on the, Drampa. So many Pokemon names. So this match ended up coming down to a really clutch move where, essentially, despite his veteran status, Mike forgot that Ribombee had something called Shield Dust. So he goes to fake out the Ribombee to prevent whatever it's going to do, which presumably in the situation would have been Speed Swap onto a Drampa. Instead, Steven B switches Drampa out for a Gengar, and Mike fakes out the Ribombee, who has, again, Shield Dust, so it's immune to fake out. And then it busts off an attack, I think doing a good amount of damage, and then resulting in what you see on the screen here, which is a 4-0 for Steven. That is pretty unheard of on Mike in general. It's also definitely unheard of on Mike in playoffs. So, like, that was a pretty big win for Steven S, or B right there. That means we say goodbye to Mike Hendo for the season. He doesn't even make it into the bracket with his brother, which is a little unfortunate. If he had won, he would have definitely slid over there to his brother's bracket, and played against Jay possibly, and that whole bracket would have been lit. I mean, but Steven B is upsetting everybody. He's had, I think he definitely beat Mike in season. I'm pretty sure. He beat Aris in season. I'm pretty sure. Like, he's had some pretty big wins. So despite his newbie status, he's actually doing really well. I think it's because he's focusing not just on his team composition, but like practicing a lot. He does a lot of practicing that and conversing of strategies with other trainers. Mike's also been really distracted this year, what with all the COVID, and he had 2 jobs which were essential. And so he was on the front lines essentially the entire time, working overtime. But no excuses. Mike does take the loss and gets knocked out of playoffs. Steven B moves on to the next round, which brings us to the only match that we have today, which is myself versus Jay Wade. Going into this match, definitely really intimidated by Jay Wade's team. Hang on. Where's the logo? What? Anyway, definitely really intimidated by Jay Wade's team. He had, I mean, weather, like, he could do all kinds of stuff with his team. Gastrodon prevents me from hitting his fire-type Pokemon with my strong water stab, so I was just at a disadvantage in a lot of ways. And coming into it, I just knew that no matter what, I had to either get Aurora Veil set up or use my Ninetales to hit things like Passimian, Gastrodon, Hydreigon, like things like that. It definitely hit. Oops, wrong one. It definitely hit the Hydreigon and Passimian really strongly. Although Passimian can survive, especially with the Assault Vest that I'm assuming it had on it. Gastrodon can get almost O-code by, well, definitely O-code by a Freeze Dry if it doesn't have a Yache Berry on it. I think this round he brought Rindo Berry, which is smart because, you know, grass type moves. Anyway, so that Gastrodon's already a threat. The fire type Pokemon are a huge threat to my Corviknight, especially under Sun, so I decided to go with a specially defensive Corviknight so I could at least survive some attacks while putting out some damage and supporting my team. I brought a support version of the Arcanine with Flash Fire this time because he had 2 fire type Pokemon, so I could eat those fire type moves, get a boost on my fire type moves, and a boost from Stab and Sun to just hit like a truck with my Arcanine. The Scorbunny there, Cinderace there is there just hit hard and fast. It outspeeds a majority of his team unless they have a Scarf on them. The Life Orb obviously boosting its attack. I'm also going to take advantage of his Sun for my Stab and Pyro Ball. I have a Shucca Berry on the Raichu so that it can survive a ground type attack. It's got Fake Out, Thunderbolt, Grass Knot, things like that. Just so I can do a good amount of damage to things like the Gastrodon and the Charizard, and then just neutral damage to the rest of the Pokemon. And that was my strategy there. And then a good old favorite of mine, Weakness Policy, Araquanid, in case he hit it. One of the cool things about having Araquanid is because I am known to bring a Weakness Policy on it, a lot of players will avoid using, unless they know it can OHKO, they'll avoid using super effective moves on the Araquanid, which ends up working in my favor even if I don't have Weakness Policy on it. It's kind of like a little mind game, but if I do have Weakness Policy on it, go ahead, hit it with its super effective attack, and then I can survive. Now, Araquanid is just a tank in general. I mean, a whopping 132 special defense. like 98 defense, I think. It's crazy, crazy powerful. It does a lot of damage to both his fire types. I mean, pretty much his whole team. So Araquanid hits the fire types with water. It hits his grass and his Hydreigon with bug type stabs hard. And then I do have Giga Drain on it in case the weakness policy goes off and I need to hit that Gastrodon for some ×4 damage and also heal myself. So that was my strategy there. J-Wade obviously bringing Suncore, supporting it with the Gastrodon. His Passimian can just hit really hard on a lot of things. He did forget Rock Slide this week. I don't think that would have ended up mattering too much, but he did forget Rock Slide. And then he has Levitate on the Hydreigon with a Choice Scarf. The Charizard G-Max is really intimidating here. Also, G-Max Venusaur, as we saw when I fought him before playoffs, can be a monstrous force, especially if you can't stop it in time. I mean, he basically has the ability to outspeed all my Pokemon automatically with Sun Up. And if he gets a couple max oozes off, I mean, I just can't stop him. So that's a huge threat for me. And that's what we're going to see this week in the match. So let's get it kicked off. I have no fellow commentators, so we'll just kick right into it. 1, 2, 3, go. I got it. I feel like I got it down to a nice little science here with the recording. We'll see how playoffs goes. So going in, I'm leading Cinderace and the Raichu. I have U-Turn, Sucker Punch, Pyro Ball, and Protect on the Cinderace, so I can shift them out if I need to, or I can just hit hard. As soon as I saw this lead, I knew I was at a huge advantage. The sun goes up. I outspeed both of those Pokemon with my Cinderace, no problem, unless one of them has a Scarf, and Fake Out is in play. So I'm trying to think here, like, what should I do? The sun is up and Pyro Ball already hits really hard. I know the Charizard is a huge problem. I'm just going to target it with not very effective damage and hope that my stab and the sun boost is going to make up for that. And then instead of faking out, I'm leaning into Thunderbolt so I can try to OHKO this Charizard on turn 1. Thinking that I am going to use a... What? For real? Interesting. Thinking that I am going to use the Fake Out on the Ninetales, he goes for Protect. Obviously, this turd, immediately as soon as I saw that, I was like, I got this. Pyro Ball hits hard, and it crits, so like that could have actually had a little bit, or no, the Thunderbolt crit, sorry. The Thunderbolt could have had a little bit of something to do with the critting, but honestly, the Power Ball did almost half damage, and I'm pretty sure that the Thunderbolt was doing like 65% damage anyway, so I'm almost positive I would have killed regardless of the critical hit. Whatever. So now he's on tilt. He lost his Charizard and his G-Max on turn 1 without doing anything. All I did was plus that turn. I took advantage. And then so he moves in Venusaur, which is a questionable move in general. And I'm like, wait, I could just change weather and stop stop his speed right now. Like, why not? And I already have a full advantage. If he had brought in Hydreigon maybe a turn earlier, like this turn instead of the Venusaur, it could have been a different story, but he doesn't. He sticks to his guns, keeps that out. I set up Hail, shutting down Chlorophyll immediately because that's how speed tiers work this gen. And Pyro Ball, without the sun, does enough damage to OHKO Venusaur. It's unclear if I even needed the Life Orb on that one, but as you can see, now I'm at about 25% or so damage. My Scorbunny actually can survive an Earth Power from things like Hydreigon and stuff at full HP. I'm at almost half of HP now, though, due to the hail. So I'm basically in kill range for his Hydreigon, which is a big problem for me. Passimian comes in. I'm feeling pretty pretty cool about this, so I'm just gonna fuck it, Powerball the Pessimian. Like, just keep using Powerball, right? I definitely outspeed both of these guys. As long as he doesn't somehow set up Sun, which he can't right now, I'm going to go ahead and bust off an Aurora Veil that's going to support my team for the rest of the game. Aurora Veil. There we go. I outsped. I set up Aurora Veil. Pyroball goes off in the hail. Smacks the shit out of Pessimian. And at this point, Sunny Day does go off, which is, I'm like, okay, like, I'm cool with that. Sunlight turns harsh. He uses Iron Head, which is gonna OHKO my Ninetales there. But Ninetales did everything that Ninetales was supposed to do. Now I go for it. He's out of Dynamax Pokemon. I haven't even Dynamaxed yet. I can get a free little fake out here. Nothing to worry about. So his Sun's back up. He just set up Sun for me. I'm gonna Pyro Ball into the Ninetales and fake out the Pessimian, hopefully getting a little KO damage there. We don't know. We'll see. My weather is down, but all his weather abusers are down, so there's like no reason for me to even care. He basically set up Sun for me now because I have Pyro Ball and my Arcanine still in the back, so the Sun is mine ostensibly at this point. He does go for the Protect on the Ninetales, so the Pyro Ball is not gonna bust off on that guy. I get the fake out on Hydreigon for a little poke of damage, and Pyro Ball doesn't hit the Ninetales. If I had hit Hydreigon with the Pyro Ball, like maybe I would have done a good amount of damage. I could have put it in kill range, maybe for a Thunderbolt or something. But it does resist, and it's bulky as fuck, so the Earth Power is going to go ahead and kill Cinderace. A couple turns earlier, Cinderace might have survived that, especially with Aurora Veil up. Thunderbolt goes off, hits the Ninetales pretty hard, and gets a Paralysis, so RNG's already working in my favor here. He Heat Waves and hits me for a little over half damage there. I'm feeling good about it. I think Corviknight might be the way to go. No, let's bring the bug out. We're in a safe space. Neither of these Pokemon either threaten my bug or like are able to eat its attacks. So he's probably assuming I'm going to hit the Ninetales or even the Hydreigon with a water attack because, you know, why wouldn't I with Water Bubble? But instead I am going to just do a bug attack on the Hydreigon. And Thunderbolt, I'm thinking he's going to bring in another Pokemon. I'm going to go ahead and switch in Corviknight so I can reset Fake Out. He withdraws Hydreigon, which I'm like, okay. And I withdraw my Raichu, resetting my Fake Out. I have lost 2 Pokemon, and that's all I stand or can want to lose. I'm not losing any more Pokemon. That's just how I feel. Sending out the Max Bug on his Pokemon, which aids me in a number of ways. It reduces their special attack and just hits for stab. Both the Pokemon he left out use special attack in some way or another. The Gastron's not going to be using any physical attack. And he misses the Corviknight with Heat Wave, so RNG is working in my favor again. Get the Max Flutter. Doesn't do nearly anything to the Gastron, but now I'm not really threatened by either of these Pokemon, especially considering that I have my Veil up still. Now it's about getting Corviknight out of there, which I don't. Oh, the Paralysis stage drop actually lets it so Corviknight can outspeed the Ninetales. And knowing he's going to use his Sun boosted Heat Wave on me, let's bring out my Flash Fire Arcanine, eating the Heat Wave. My Bug barely takes anything. He does have a Rindo Berry on that Gastrodon, so the Max Grass, which is a special attack, already not great for my Pokemon, is only going to do a little bit of damage. But now I do two things here. I get to set up the grassy terrain for myself, thus healing me, and I boost up my grass type damage. So next turn, no matter what, I'm pretty much guaranteed to OHKO that Gastrodon there. With the sun gone, I still have Flash Fire activated, so my fire type moves are doing the 50% additional damage regardless of the sun actually being gone. I would have done 100% more damage had the sun been out. So I just figure I'll just bug attack this Gastrodon and get a Snarl off. I don't know, fuck it, right? Flamethrower. I already got the Flash Fire boost. He withdraws Gastrodon, which is a questionable move, especially for this Pokemon. I guess he was assuming I was going to Max Grass it again. Ninetales should have swipped out a long time ago. Flamethrower gets protected, and then I do a Max Bug and OHKO the Hydreigon. Passimian's on his bench left, almost dead. Gastrodon, almost dead. The Ninetales. And fuck, what else does he have? I think that's it. The healing is gonna go off. I did use all 3 turns of my max there, but it was well used. Oh wait, no, I got one more turn, right? No, yeah, that's 3 turns. So I use Bug, Grass Bug. And I'm feeling good about it now, because Passimian doesn't really threaten either of these. Even if he had Rock Slide, I'm pretty sure Arcanine outspeeds, and it would trigger my weakness policy anyway. I'm positive that the Bug would have survived. I'm not even fucking around with a possible switch in on the Gastrodon. I'm just going to go ahead and lunge one of these Pokemon. Come on, man. You know the deal. Screw it. Protect. Flamethrower, I am boosted by Flash Fire still, so the Flamethrower is going to do enough to go ahead and kill that Passimian. Even with the Soul Fist. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's in red. He was dying. Ninetales gets a little bit of health. It's at almost exactly 50% now. Not enough to do anything to the rest of my team. I mean, J-Wade has effectively lost at this point. Both his Pokemon are damaged below, if not at half health. And my Pokemon are boosted and ready to go. So I'm going to do a Giga Drain and a Snarl. Just in case he survives, I want to shut down a little bit more of that damage from the Gastrodon. Snarl buffs off, lowering both their special attacks. Ninetales does Psyshock, which I guess he was doing it just cause, you know, why not, whatever, who knows. Giga Drain with the grassy terrain is more than enough to kill the Gastrodon and pretty much, yep, basically fully heal my my Bug there. And J-Wade stands no chance now of winning. I mean, he didn't already, but this is bad. I don't know what I'm stalling about. Screw it. There's no more Gastrodon. Alright, so Flamethrower. She eats it. Does nothing to the Bug. And Liquidation will finish off the Ninetales. It's unfortunate, but that does eliminate J-Wade from the playoffs, and I move on to go up against I Am Kid Sid next week. Boom. It's crazy how things work out. So, I was really scared of losing that round. J-Wade did a lot of practice. Nobody really wanted to practice with me. Kid Sid did end up helping me practice a good amount. And because of that, I was able to take home the victory there with a 4-0. So we got 2 4-0s that week. Let's bring us over to the spreadsheet here. We're going to interact. We're going to go to the schedule. Nope, standings. I think it is now. So standings have already been updated. This is what the actual playoff brackets look like here. So let's just put my name in here. I can't edit it while I'm not. Okay, I'll get to it later. So Stephen B wins, I win, Mike loses, J-Wade loses. Stephen B goes up to the West bracket here versus Jay. That will be a matchup we will feature on Sunday with just screen caps really. Then it's myself versus Kid Sid, who just helped me practice, so I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage there. And then Zach versus Jordan. That's a big match. 3 versus 6. Jordan's team is insanely powerful. Dan versus Reese. That's a big one. Dan has the tools to beat Reese, but Reese is a veteran, 3-time season winner. We'll see how that turns out. And that will be leading us into the playoffs there. I mean, that's playoffs week 1 coming up next week. We'll see you guys on Sunday to wrap this up again, and then we will have semifinals and then finals. So there's 3 more weeks of streams. Sunday is going to be the next stream, and we'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. I know it's been kind of half-assed and a little short, but there wasn't much to talk about this week, and we were late with it, so I was just feeling like might as well just get out of the way, right? Alright guys, see you next week for PLC Season 5's Playoffs Week 1.